All right, yo, it's your boy Yoshi Kid Neo, and we are back. World of Boridil, the Ruination of Boridil. And today the party, well, we're gonna start off by wrapping up the one shot that we did last week. And then the party should be getting onto a ship and heading out to the town of Bleakbell. On the way there, they're going to run into some fun stuff that I've got planned for them, so we'll see how they do with it. It's fun for me, not very fun for them. But yeah, so should be a good session. There is combat planned, but we'll see if they even go the combat route, because the combat doesn't necessarily have to happen, but knowing them, they're probably going to want to fight, because it's either they fight these things or a bunch of innocents die. Should be fun. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it.
I did not really like the mechanics. I don't know why. It just didn't jive.
Yeah, especially how I had him set up. Like had like his skills and stuff set up. It's a pretty fun time. So I actually had like more options.
Okay. So to finish off the one shot, since we went pretty late last session and I needed to go to bed. Once you guys had finished defeating that shadowy creature known as an Alep, and the woman that was possessed was essentially not possessed anymore. You guys I think you guys knocked her out. Pretty sure you guys knocked her out, and we're discussing whether or not you were going to kill her. And the majority ruled was that we'll extract the information from her and then we'll kill her. Essentially, after she rises from her slumber after about an hour or so, she begins to divulge what's been going on. She was sent to the observatory, the elders at Candle Keep, to investigate. That's all she needed to do. Investigate, see where these creatures that have been destroying the area, see where they came from, see if there's any way to get rid of them, and essentially just assess their strength. But unfortunately, she and her companions were overrun the rooftop and noticed a shining red light in the sky. And after looking through the telescope, she told you that she had visions of the future, of the world in flames, being overrun by these creatures, hordes and hordes of these creatures destroying everything, and everything essentially being engulfed in darkness, which turned her to insanity and possessed her to do what she could to aid in this prophecy coming true. You guys freed her, and she told you that so far what she's gathered is that in one of the rooms below, the stone that before he inevitably had died, that stone is what brought these creatures to this location. And she said that she's noticed that the goo can be destroyed with fire. And asks if you guys wanted to go and retrieve the stone and help her get back to Candle Keep. So, once Kirsten stops dropping her connection, what is those that participated in the one shot, what is your verdict? Do you want to kill this woman? Do you want to take the item, or do you want to spare her and go about your business?
I guess I'm like...
Since it was part of the contract, we might as well spare her.
Yeah, at this moment I still have my gun aiming at her, and I just... Fair enough.
Anything from Sax? I think Sax was the one that was actually trying to persuade you guys not to kill her in her sleep. Want to make sure you didn't change your mind.
No, keep her alive.
Okay. So she bows and says thank you. She grabs a torch, runs down, burns the black goo away, which causes it to make a hissing. Discord is acting up on me ×4. It might be your internet. Be my guess, but I don't know. It could also be. It looks to me like you were typing that message and then sent it, and it didn't look like it sent. But I'm not sure.
What happened? Sorry.
I'm thinking that it might be your internet in lieu of Discord, but it could also be Discord.
That's cool.
So you guys spare her, and she asks if you'll escort her back to Candlekeep. What do you say to that?
Well, not exactly in the contract. What do you two think?
It wouldn't hurt. I don't really care.
All right then. Lead on, Missy.
She thanks you profusely and starts to head towards the first floor of the observatory. And as you guys get there and start heading out, you start making your way back to that deserted town. Once you get there, you hear the familiar voice of the porcelain lady call out to you. And in the middle of the town square, she's there waiting. As you the woman comes up and is a little bit puzzled. And she asks, who is this woman who... And then she answered by casting a spell that causes this woman to start choking her. Is she even worth keeping alive?
I mean... Oh, go ahead.
While smoking a cigarette, I tell her about the situation at the location and tell all the information she's given.
And then with that, she outstretches another hand and requests for the stone that you described.
I don't think I have the stone. Anybody
One
who has the stone?
one of you would.
I'd give her the stone. And as I'm giving it to her, it's like, you asked us for the information. Didn't you want her alive so you could ask her for yourself?
And she looks to you and says, I'm extracting a little bit more information. It just happens to be a little harder on mortals. And as you look at the woman, you see that her eyes are rolled back. She's starting to drool out of her mouth. And after a few moments, the porcelain lady lets go of her grip on her. The lady falls down onto all fours and starts to convulse. She then vomits, and these worm creatures out into the soil around you. And as they're kind of like hissing and making noises, they end up burrowing into the ground. She looks at you all and goes, interesting. She was still infected by those creatures.
Still smoking. Gross.
She will not be going back to Candlekeep. I will be taking her to my own laboratory for further testing. Speaking of which, there is the matter of your reward. I would like to extend a generous offer to all of you. Quite pleased with your results at the observatory, and I would like to hire you full-time in my employ. Anything that you desire, I will do my absolute best to make it yours. Whether it's money, objects of power, or perhaps status within your own colonies and townships. The offer will remain for a few days, I guess. You have time to think about it. And should you decide to join me, she reaches in her pocket and pulls out 3 stones, and she hands them to you. These are sending stones, but I've cultivated them into only allowing you to use them once before they crumble into dust. They are linked directly to me. Should you come to a decision, let me know. Otherwise, your rewards. What is it that you all desire?
Well, if you're asking me, money. That's all I want.
And she looks to your character, Kirsten, and you, Dia.
I want an object of power that'll help me find someone. And a little money, if there's extra.
That can be arranged. And then you, Sax.
I reached to grab the stone. I'm just looking for a good time.
And she pulls the stone away and glances at you. And obviously, because she's got a porcelain mask on, you can't see her facial expression. But she tilts her head in a sort of curious state and goes, "So, do you?"
I'll go where the money goes.
You're hired.
Well then.
She then
Sound like
grabs
it's gonna be
or then she reaches into her belt loop, pulls out 3 bags, and tosses one of them to each of you. And inside, you each find 100 platinum pieces. Perhaps that's enough for you to all consider my offer a little more heavily. And as for you, dear, I need to cultivate this item, but I think I can do it. Do you happen to have... Oh, excuse me, I burped. Do you happen to have... She just burps in the middle of her speech. I was drinking, but, gives you the bubblies.
I still imagine her saying all of this in character.
Oh dear. Excuse me. I beg your pardon. I am so embarrassed. No, anyway, she
minds messes me up.
Yeah. She looks to you and says, "Do you have a description of this person you're looking for? Perhaps maybe a trinket of theirs to make it a little easier?"
I don't have a shared trinket, but I have a shared blood relation.
That will do nicely. That will actually make it
Perfect.
much easier. Well then, I guess it's decided. Let us head back to my lab together, and we will begin formulating our plans for your employ. And if one of you would not mind subduing the girl, binding her if you have to, but I do not want her getting away.
I'll put my cigarette in my mouth and then grab her by her arms kind of aggressively and pull out a rope and start tying her up.
You saying, "How can you do this? I don't know who this woman is. You have to let me go. I have to report back to Candlekeep." In which the porcelain lady looks at her. "Oh dear, you're not going back to Candlekeep. Ever?"
Ma'am, I suggest you don't struggle. Make it so much easier.
Yes, and as she
Or
keeps
do
babbling...
struggle. That'll make it more fun.
I like you all already. Well then, shall we? And she starts to walk away. And as she does, there's a... she starts weaving a spell, and a portal opens up, and she walks through it, and it remains open for you all.
All right, on you go. And I push the lady.
She stumbles in.
And then I follow right behind her.
I'll
Dax and
follow as
Amara.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just casually.
Cool. And as the portal fades away, a whisper of wind comes through the ghost town, and there's sort of a red gleam that is more like a kind of lighthouse light. It the red shines over the observatory for a moment, disappears again, and the camera pans to the red comet in the sky before boom. We will probably play those characters again, and then next time, Jeff and Joe, you guys should be able to join us very easily. And yeah, now you are in the employ of the porcelain lady. Mysterious.
I'm looking forward to this.
Porcelain lady, that sounds sexy.
So now going back to the main session. Last time we left was with you guys being at the Sailor's Alley, and Lloyd had just cast a spell in front of a group of guards in which they essentially told you to have an Inquisitor come from the Empire to come and question you all for arcane, magics and things like that. And wouldn't you know it, they sent Gower, the one that you were warned about from Lord Saxon, specifically saying that he was going to be the one to essentially end you all. So you needed to be careful. All these steps that you took to avoid him have still led him to you somehow, some way. Regardless, Gower is on his way, and as he gets closer, yeah, as Gower gets to the city, you guys are taken to the Inquisitor's location and taken to the 3rd floor in the back room, where you're left to essentially just wait out the inevitable. What the inevitable is probably just a questioning, but also from what you know of this gentleman, it could be a very fatal encounter. You're not sure. You just know the rest. In this room, you guys end up finding a bookcase that has a little locking mechanism in the form of these gold books. As you pull them out in the proper order, you hear a clicking sound underneath the carpet and find that there's a trap door that leads to what you assume is the basement of this building. As you guys investigate and start discussing a plan, you hear footsteps from outside of the room, and you hear people say, "Welcome, Lord Gower. Glad to see you, Lord Gower." And at this point, Lloyd's like, "All right, you guys stay here, make something up about me, like using magic to control you, to save yourselves. I'll make it out. I'll be fine." He goes down the trap door, and as the door opens, it's the captain that had brought you in the first place. And he said that Lord Gower is preparing his questioning for you all. And then he noticed that Lloyd is no longer in the room. And Three-Toe Jim essentially starts grovel and plead and say, "We didn't know, like we didn't have any control over ourselves. The evil wizard, he used magic to control us. Like, please, we didn't mean to do anything. We don't practice in those arts. Like, let us go." And a group of guards are called to search the city for the Lloyd character, and then asked to stay put for a while longer while Gower investigates for a while as well. And while that's happening, Lloyd gets to the bottom of the ladder, and wouldn't you know it, Gower's waiting for him down there. And he claims that this trap has been very successful in a lot of his captures of mages and arcane users alike. Because freedom is the thing that they absolutely crave. But he gives Lloyd a choice. He can either die right now at the hands of Gower and his companion. He could chain himself up and have a proper trial back at is when they choose to run, because he enjoys the chase, because there's a satisfaction in trying to capture those that use this perverted art form. Lloyd did get some good information from him. He learned that they do in fact worship Mistra, the goddess of magic. Although Lloyd, his own personal magic, regardless of its origin, comes from Mistra, essentially. So there's a bit of a disconnect between her tenets and what she believes in for her followers, and what this church that claims to be upholding her beliefs, what they're doing. But Lloyd ends up leaving out of the sewer and heading straight to dock number 3 to get onto a ship that you guys were all going to get on in the morning to head towards Bleakbell. While doing so, he takes on the name of Frederick, which you guys know as his familiar, but that's what he goes by as he joins the ship and finds a safe place to sleep for the night. The rest of you go about doing some of your own business during the night. Some of you go back to the bar and try to keep her recognized who you were. Kai, you almost got convicted for murder, even though you just found some dead dude and you were about to report it. But the the guard accepted a bribe and let you go, in which then you found Dr. Thorpe leaving the bar, and you went with him to go back to your rooms for the night. Jim and Trina, you guys, I believe both of you stayed back at the inn. Trina, you communed with your goddesses and asked them some questions, which you know them to be very, very withholding of information that doesn't regard you or is not in direct line of your assignment. But they did give you heads up that if they did need you to go and save Mal, because Saxon told you he was in trouble, that they would allow you to. Or they would notify you if they needed you. Attempting to ease your on your task at hand, which is figuring out why there's a call to war in the region. And Jim, I forget what exactly we did with you, I'll be honest. Do you remember?
Oh, no, it wasn't anything important.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was very, very, very subtle, if anything. But yeah, anyway, you guys go to bed. You wake up the next morning, and I will go bring you guys to the city. As you wake up and get ready to head towards the port, or essentially dock number 3, to get onto your ship, Lloyd, you are woken up a little bit earlier than sunrise. The are starting to get everything underway. They're starting each other. They've been at port for a couple days now, and obviously this is pretty much like their vacation time, what you're gathering. But as you are woken up from your sleep, a few people have come into the sort of chambers that you have been granted. So you definitely can tell that this is sort of like this is where the passengers go. And the passengers essentially share this location. Amongst these people are a couple of common looking men, probably farmers, big bushy beards. There's a pregnant woman and her young child. He looks to be of maybe the teenage, like maybe 12, 13 years old or something like that. And then there is a older woman. So they all are starting to fill in, and they're putting their stuff, what little things that they have, in whatever cot they choose or whatever corner they put their things in. And they all, as they sit in their cot, and because it is rather early, it's probably 6:30 in the morning, which is about 30 minutes to an hour before you guys are going to sail off. They kind of just sit there and awkwardly stare at everybody. The young boy essentially has his chin tucked into his chest, and he's staring at the ground. The two men are kind of awkwardly gazing at the woman and sizing her up, and sort of talking to each other, giggling, things like that. And the old woman is, she takes out a flask and starts to sip on it very slowly, gets into her cot real nice and comfy, and ends up passing out and snoring.
Okay. And it's still morning, like right before morning.
Correct, yeah. So 6:30, the sun is just starting to peek up over the horizon. You can see it through the little portholes that allow you to see outside of your chamber. Other than that, the top deck is definitely pretty busy. You hear a lot of footsteps, a lot of movement, and a lot of heavy lifting happening.
Well, I grab my things, and then I make sure that like my area looks like it's being occupied, I suppose.
Okay.
I leave behind the blankets and whatnot, I guess, in the cot area. I go up to the top deck and look around.
Let's see, yeah, so obviously the light is casting over the horizon, and it's lighting up the sea, and it's a very beautiful sight, very wonderful, very peaceful. The chaos of the crew strapping down things, grabbing the sails, tying them down, and getting things ready. They don't really pay any mind to you except for the occasional, "Oi, move out the way!" Which obviously you move out of the way. You don't want to cause a ruckus or anything like that. But as you're walking around, a gentleman approaches you. "Excuse me, sir. Might I ask that perhaps maybe you tend to your quarters while we prepare to get underway? We do not wish to accidentally cause an incident." And this gentleman
yes,
comes up to you.
Oh, yes, sir. I just...
"What's going on?"
What's going on? I was already below deck since last night, so...
"Oh, yes. We're just finishing up preparations. The rest of the crew came in this morning. And we'll be ready to sail underway in about..." He pulls out a pocket watch, flips it open. "Little less than 45 minutes or so. We're still waiting on some of the other passengers. They haven't arrived yet." And he closes the pocket watch, puts it back. "Hopefully they get here soon, because I like to leave promptly at 7:30.
Okay.
Do you know any of the passengers headed this way, perhaps?
Yeah, I know a few of them that they should be on their way.
To go and get them."
Okay. Well, I'll go sit tight below deck till then. If you need me, just let me know.
"I do remember one of my men telling me you've been here all night." He points to the sort of top deck where the wheel of the ship is. "If you sit up there, I'm almost certain you will be out of all the crewmates' ways, if you wish to gain some fresh air."
Okay, that sounds good too. And I go up there.
Very nice, my dude. Did you post it on Facebook at all? Okay. So as you get up there, he turns around, shout at the men like, "Hey, be careful with that. That stuff's fragile. What are you doing? Like, that doesn't come with us. That's on the next boat. Read the tag, you dummy." He's just shouting at his men and making jokes, and they're all laughing and having a good time. Just the normal sailor thing to do. And as you're looking around, you notice that the dock area is a lot more lively this morning than it was the previous night. Probably because a lot of these ships are about to set sail. You can see a lot of the fisher ships or fishing ships are already starting to head out. And they all essentially follow the same path And once they get to probably 400, 500 feet out into the ocean, they all start to separate and break off to their own their favorite fishing spots, and see who can catch the most crab in the deadliest of storms. Cue sponsorship from the Deadliest Catch. Just kidding. But other than that, you can see the glint of silver and blue armor, essentially riddled all throughout the crowds, and you can see that they are passing out what looks like some sort of like paper to all these people. And go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I see. Let's go to my perception.
That makes sense. Usually commissioned works that go on like Reddit so that I can use them in D&D. So I'm certain that if you posted the same thing, someone else would do that, I bet, to you. You hear one of the men shouting essentially to a large crowd, "Hear ye, hear ye! Royal decree! Wanted, Lloyd, Dark Wizard! And he then goes, reward upon captured alive."
Upon hearing that, I go back down under the deck.
As you're going down to the bottom of the deck, 100 gold pieces for any information. 100 platinum pieces for the capture of this evil wizard. He is powerful and deadly.
I go back to my quarters, and then I change clothes, I believe. I will change into something that I wasn't wearing before.
Okay. Yeah,
Your blue robe.
yeah.
Yes.
Instead of his dark robe, he changes into his blue robe from the other character art that you had previous. Okay. So as you get down there, the started to doze off and go to sleep. The two men are currently playing a game of cards. The old gets the fuck out, and the teenager continues to stare at the ground, not paying you any attention.
I go in my cot, turn away from them towards the wall, and read my book.
Right, easy enough. So we'll pan back to the rest of you. As you guys are waking up, you can smell the early morning festivities, which consist of somewhat fishy smells, but also of the busyness of the docks. Especially the thing that's a little off-putting is the fact of how early it is right now, and it's already feeling like it's mid-afternoon with how much foot traffic is going on the docks right now. As you all wake up, is there anything that you do specifically?
No, just
I don't
getting
have
ready.
anything. Just to make sure I get there on time.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
Yeah, I just get up, do a few stretches, and
Dan Rasil, how we doing?
and make sure everybody else is ready.
Also, Stevens, this is a dope photo, dude. Is this your artist that you use for your VR content too? All right. So easy enough. You guys start to pack up your bags, start to pack up your stuff, and head out. End up getting to the bottom floor. There's sort of a window outside of the stairwell. There's no one sitting behind the window, but there's a sign that says, folks that are, leave your keys here.
As I walk up with, because I'll like retrieve the keys from everybody. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll meet you all outside. I'll put the keys away. I'll get the keys back.
Sounds good.
And I just head up to the counter and hand the gentleman the keys.
Okay, and yeah, no one's there, so the desk has like a little bowl, and you can see that there's already a couple of keys that are in it.
Okay.
And then next
Drop
to it, you see a little jar that has a couple of copper pieces and silver pieces.
I'll throw 2 gold in there.
Okay. As you throw 2 gold and start to walk away, you hear that cup jiggle. And as you look back, there's a little kid. He looks like he's pretty dirty and goes, "Gee, thanks, mister."
I look back at him, raise an eyebrow, and then smile and then wink, and then proceed to walk out.
And he takes the 2 gold out of it and pockets it and puts the cup back onto the spot and hides under the desk.
And I just walk outside.
Okay, and outside the rest of the crew is waiting for you, which you guys are all seeing this happen. It's blatant. But you see armored in blue and silver colors and hand you a flyer as well. "If you have any information, bring it to the Inquisitors, please. Very dangerous wizard about."
I take the paper and nod to him.
You see a pretty decent sketch of Lloyd. It's a little... Obviously, Lloyd, I believe you keep your hood up most of the time, right? Is that correct?
Oh, that is correct, yes.
Okay. So the hood is obviously up above his face, but the beard and the facial features are almost spot on. It's actually kind of freaky how good this drawing is, especially in this short amount of time that Lloyd has officially become wanted, and that this pamphlet has been printed for serious leads, and then 100 platinum for the capture of Lloyd alive. Yeah, you need to give my props to your artist.
Looks like our friend here is rousing up the entire neighborhood.
You say friend. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you know me.
But-
I'm a big fan of Zelda.
1,000 platinum?
I'll have to turn off my little background thing so
Or
that you can
100
see
platinum,
my wall.
1,000 platinum, we'd be having a conversation.
Perhaps I will talk to him about shaving that beard. And I fold the paper up and put it in my pocket.
I think we may have to do more than that, but that's a good start.
And I smile
At least
and
he was
then.
already on the boat.
Exactly. Well then, shall we go? I believe that they will be waiting for us.
Yeah, let's go.
And proceed to start walking towards the docks.
All right, easy, easy, easy. You start walking towards the docks and you see the numbers. You guys are currently at dock number 15 and they start going down. Eventually you get to dock number 3. And you can see that there's a bunch of men on the outside of it picking up different various pieces of cargo and supplies and bringing them up the gangplank to the deck and securing everything. And there's a gentleman out there as you guys walk up towards the gangplank. Oi, you got your tickets?
Guess I pull out my ticket and show it up and hey,
That
hold it
piece my sister-in-law did for me. It's a paint by numbers thing, I think.
I got your ticket right here.
up. Pulls out his penis.
Oh
Alright.
shit.
Roll intimidation.
Oh, whoa!
Okay,
Roll
so
Constitution.
For such a small guy.
Yeah, I'm average. For you.
Yeah, he's packing. He's packing some heat. Beware.
I only have one leg. Those aren't toes.
Oh God.
Are you guys actually saying this, or are you just like?
No.
Okay.
Me.
I was like, because Trina's just gonna keep walking. Like.
Jeffrey, which one do you want me to use?
The second one.
Second one.
Well, I mean, the first one it has a beard, but I guess I'd be trying to get rid of it. So that's the best one I have for now.
Okay. That worky. All right. Anyway, so you pull out your tickets. He grabs them. He takes a little punch down tool and. All right, we'll be leaving promptly about 20 minutes or so. I will go ahead and show you to your quarters. Cots are first come, first serve. Meals will be prepared for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we will begin breakfast within the hour of leaving harbor. So, right this way, please.
I nod and begin to follow him.
Yeah, unless anyone does anything
I
different.
follow him, but shorter.
Shorter.
I follow him, but faster.
Okay. So he dodges, bobs and weaves out of the way of a lot of the other people, making sure to not get them. Oop. Does this work? All right, that's the new Lloyd, by the way.
Oh my God.
I
How is
shaved
he
him.
Leslie?
Shaved him.
That's obviously not
All
true.
all that wood cutting. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Those are tumors on your
Roasted.
forearms. Those aren't muscles.
I took your guys' advice and I shaved and cut my hair. The other
Why did
one
that not
was. Oh, Brady, show him the other one if you can.
I'll have to give it a sec. I'm trying to fix. For some reason, your actual, like your new token doesn't pop up. It shows your
okay.
old one, so I'm trying to fix that. I'll probably fix it later, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You should use default RuneScape guy.
Yeah, he's
with the
definitely
green
chiseled.
Shirt.
He's been working
no,
out.
that's
He's got nothing
picture,
else
but
to
that has the
do
beard.
while
That has
he's
the
on
beard.
the ship.
Oh yeah.
Yup.
I think the name's Bob for him. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious, Bob. So as the gentleman brings you to your quarters, you get in there, and he's like, "All right, if you wouldn't mind, please stay down here before at least 10 minutes before we depart. We'll be ringing the bell at that time, and you can come to the surface if you'd like to watch us as we leave port. Otherwise, it would make things a lot safer if you stay here. Welcome aboard." And he bows and walks away. And as you guys look, you see the same people that Lloyd has. You see two men that are playing cards. They looked over at you guys as you're being introduced to your quarters, and then they look away and go back to their game. You see an old woman with a flask in her hand, passed out. You see a pregnant woman and her teenage son, and then you see a robed figure that is currently in the process of shaving his head and his beard. You know him to be Lloyd.
Oh, I walk up to him and put my hand on his shoulder. Oh, you beat me to it. I was just going to recommend you do just that.
oh,
And I put the and I put the wanted picture in front of him.
Ah, what a dashing looking gentleman. Never seen in my life. As I proceed to cut my hair faster.
Right. I'll put it back
Oh,
up.
I could fix that nose there for you.
I turn away and cut my hair even faster. Then I say, the name's Frederick. Cough, cough.
Hey, I was
Yeah, we've got
also thinking that
a-
name as well. Fred.
Yeah, we've got one warlock. We've got a wizard. We've got
And
a ill rigger,
yeah.
which is essentially a
Yes,
paladin
I've
that
heard
serves
the
a
news as
demon or
well,
a
I
devil.
assume.
And then we've got
that man
a
Lloyd
barbarian
is missing.
and a homebrew
Yes,
class called
yeah.
the
Apparently he's
Paragon.
wanted.
Oh, well, too bad. We'll be leaving, won't be seeing him anytime soon.
Right. He sounds like a
Should
very
get
dangerous
the
man.
reward.
Hey,
Yeah.
how much time until this boat leaves?
Less than 30 minutes.
Hey, was there ever a store where they sold like dyes or anything? Like colored dyes?
Yeah, you would be able to find one.
Would I be able to make it back in 30
Yes.
minutes?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go buy some dark dye.
Okay. As you walk in, the store is just opening, and they have an assortment of dark colored dye, everything from black to like a dark deep purple, dark blue, dark red, any color specifically you're looking for.
Like a dark brownish.
Okay. And they pull out a vial and say that they do have 2 of them. They can cut you a deal of buy one, get the other one half off, which would be a total of 1 gold.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good enough deal for me.
They
Do you have
package
any?
it up.
Would you be able to throw anything that I can apply it with? like
They ask
cleanser.
like,
That's good. Thank you. And I like scurry away.
okay. So you get on Seymour and start running back towards Dock 3. You've got
And
your
they're
yeah. Nah, you can add to your sheet 2 dark brown vials of dye and I guess an applicator, a dye applicator. I don't know what you would call it, but
Yeah, be specific on what kind of app.
yeah, exactly.
I kind of go up to Frederick and I go, hey, so I had an idea. I know it's probably not the best idea, but we could dye you a different color.
Tropic Thunder, baby.
What
This is wrong
elaborate.
on so many levels.
What are you talking about?
I mean, we dye your skin a different color so people don't notice you as you.
To what?
I don't know how I need to spell this out to a wizard.
I'm asking you, like what mind is what I'm at.
Oh, sorry.
Oi. Did
Sorry. I did not mean to say that out loud.
the 2 men put their cards down and they come up. Oi, I heard they're paying good for wizards. Yeah, we wouldn't need to go to Bleakbell if we was to all turn them in. We'd be willing to give you a finder's fee. Yeah, half the reward
Yeah.
perhaps.
He was calling me a wizard. Check this out. And I like grab something and I start juggling.
Oh,
And then I like. do a
perhaps
magic
maybe they're
trick.
from a different place.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
what we
look-
call him back in his town.
They go up to Lloyd and look him up.
Wizards.
Yeah, he looks a little too strong to be a wizard, that's for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. And I flex a bit.
Oh god.
I'm just joking. That doesn't happen. But they, as they're done. Yeah, must have heard you wrong. I would be very careful calling folks wizards in this empire. People like us, we's looking for wizards if we can turn them in for a nice easy profit. Perhaps maybe you want to join us.
How much money we talking?
Well, I've heard that they're giving about 10 gold a head.
Oh. That's a...
Oi, it is. But it's a little dangerous. If you lose a limb or something in the battle, you actually get 100 gold. Yeah, but... And he pulls an axe.
And I like stick out my foot.
And they're like, oi, that's disgusting. How are you able to stand up?
I have no idea.
And then they start looking like at your legs. I'm so bigger than my fist.
My friend.
And they both extend a handshake to you. What's your name there, Halfling?
Jimothy. You can call me Three-Toed Jim.
And this here is Wesley. And they both extend a handshake.
I shake their hand.
And as you grip their hand, you could feel them trying to crush your hand purposely. And you go back to try to recrush theirs, and they wince a little bit, but they hold to it, which as a barbarian, you know that this is sort of how barbarians greet each other. They try to outmuscle each other with their handshake, which you end up doing to both of them because your strength score is higher. Thank you indeed. I think that we'll have plenty of time to get to know each other if you'd like. Maybe you'd like a round of cards?
Gentlemen. Count me in.
I think we're about to set sail, and we always love to get right before we head out. So we're actually going to pack up and head up.
Okay.
I'll go with you.
As they kind of walk away, I like turn. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
I'm just shaving my head, looking over. Yeah.
I also forgot to pull these out and show you, and I pull out the colored dye.
Okay.
So,
what are
dark.
natural skin
Wouldn't that be
pigments?
suspicious, though, with the sailors who've already seen him?
Yeah.
No, the idea is that he looks not like himself.
Well, I know, but then they're going to be wondering where Frederick went.
He already shaved his head and his beard. That's not suspicious?
No.
But it would add to the fact that if you color his skin a different pigment, they would go like, maybe, who is this fellow? Where's your ticket? Who allowed you
Look
onto the
into
ship?
it more.
Let's wait till we get to land
Hey,
first.
he got sunburned. Yeah, we don't have to do it now, but we should consider doing it when we get to a different area, you know?
Mhm.
Well, as long
And
as
I just like look at his, I'm assuming, since he's never taken his robe off around me, very, very pasty skin.
More than likely.
Is that accurate? Yeah. I just feel like that's gonna come up in your description, and if we change that, that's gonna be, I think, a good, yeah, I don't like doing it. I just think it's a good idea.
Yeah, when we get to land, yeah, we can.
Hey, you cool with this?
Yeah,
I
when
look
we
at,
get there. Yeah, when we get there.
Hannibal and Kai. Like, you guys
Who?
cool with this?
Who?
I mean, I feel like it's not their
He
decision.
asked him directly. I know it.
I'm offended on so many levels.
I know, right?
talking about me here. Listen, like, I mean, I'm gonna make the decision if I get, if I get painted.
I have to get this man blackface. All right. Well, as long as it keeps us out of trouble and doesn't raise too many eyebrows.
I look at Jim and say, "Nigga, no."
I ain't doing it. Red dye and make him more like a tiefling and buy him some antlers.
Okay.
Or perhaps color his skin green and give him tusks.
If it offends you, I'm all ears. It's my idea. It'll work.
Who are you
Make a
people and
choice.
why are you at my cot? Go away.
Okay.
I settle everything at the cot that I'm gonna be laying in, and then get ready to head upstairs. Well, if you need me, you know what I'll be.
Ding, 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 ding. 10 minutes till departure.
Yeah, I'm just heading upstairs to top deck.
Okay. Does anyone else go? And I'm going to take Rosie outside real quick. Give me like 2-3 minutes. Be right back.
So, like, are you actually not cool with that? Cause I'll Oh, this is a serious question.
Out of character?
Yeah. This is making sure I'm not making anybody angry by this hobbit asking a human to.
Blackface.
No, not just the face, the whole body.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't cool, but but I don't know.
So.
I'm not offended by it. I think it's dumb as hell, but
Yeah.
it's dumb as hell, but do with it as you please. I mean, my character is white, so. Gerald, what are you thinking, Gerald? Hey, Gerald. That man, Lloyd about to become Robert Downey Jr. Oh, you know what you need to do, Lloyd? If you decide to do this, do a Persian accent. Act like you're from the deserts.
A Persian accent.
Some sort of like very Middle Eastern accent.
BB.
Like, don't make it blackface, make it Indian face.
Yeah, so like just make it very anime.
I can't do voices that well.
This is for your safety, Lloyd. You need to do this.
I choose death.
Man, 'cause that is some good money, man, to turn in a wizard.
We dress up someone else to look just like me.
So, yeah, just like go and go down, like in your lap and pat him, and then go back up on top of the deck.
I say we someone learn disguise. Is there? Can we use disguise self on someone else, or is it just yourself? I think you can use it on someone else. We kidnap. Oh, we found Lloyd. Oh, here he is.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
Oh,
if you think about it, disguise self. It is a self spell.
I know, but if there's another spell like that, we could use to make it appear as someone else's.
Oh, polyjuice potion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, oh look, we
True
found Lloyd.
polymorph, I think, would work. Little Rosie says hello, everybody. Do all of you head top deck, or does Lloyd stay down?
I am staying in my little cot here, reading my book.
shave your eyebrows too.
I shave. I
wanna go
leave
top deck.
my eyebrows. I leave my eyebrows, but
Put a little, like, cut a little like slice in your eye, in there, like your right eyebrow or something.
okay.
Like a fuck boy.
I hate that.
This septum piercing.
Okay. So as
Oh,
the rest of you
A tattoo would actually be a
on the
facial
face,
tattoo.
yeah.
Mike Tyson tattoo.
Mike
Yeah.
Tyson.
You just use the ink or the dye for that, and I can give you a tattoo. Nobody will look at you. They'll see the face tattoo and be like, "That's probably not him." I think that's a great idea. Can Three-Toed Jim give Lloyd a tattoo?
Yeah.
I
we
do not
can
accept any
definitely-
tattoos at that later.
Your body is
Oh,
a
you don't wanna
canvas.
you don't want me to give you my first tattoo on
No.
your face on a
No.
boat?
Yeah, there's
No.
nothing wrong.
God.
You try to set him up like you need to play some like
Have
some
a
very
sense
golf
of
club music.
adventure.
No.
Play some golf club music while setting them up.
I mean, it could work.
I keep my I stay in my cot in my book.
Well, as the rest of you go up top, you come out and the crew have already gone to their various stations. They're doing all the riggings and getting the sails ready. Some of them are getting these large oars out to essentially push the ship off of the dock, and they're getting them ready. And they go, "Captain, at your order." And he holds a hand up. "We'll be about 5 more minutes." And as he says that, he stands aside, and you can see standing next to him, speaking to him, are these two gentlemen here.
No way. That's so funny. Gower?
Yep. So as he stands aside and begins talking to him, Gower has his arms crossed behind his back, and he's nodding his head and speaking and conversing. And then his eyes puts up a 1, pretty much saying 1 second. "I was wondering if you all were on this ship. I had remembered hearing something about you all going on a voyage far from the Empire, which is why I didn't see you in the capital. I believe it was fate that we met here again. For I have a request from you all."
Oh. What can I do to help you?
Allow me to introduce one of our newest initiates to the church. This is Ricard Dolan. And he stands aside, and the gentleman you see before you, you can see his gold hair flowing with the wind coming out from under the hood, but he wears a metallic mask on his face. He is an initiate, and his first assignment is to go and investigate the maddening effect of Bleakbell. And I was hoping perhaps to have other Inquisitors to join him, but we are short-staffed, as we are on a manhunt currently. So I was hoping perhaps maybe there was someone that I knew and that someone is you all. I believe perhaps maybe you could all get acquainted, maybe help him with his duties, and our relationship could be off to a lot better start.
Giles smiles. Well, if there is no one else, we could take him in. Ricard, and then hold my hand out for a handshake.
Ricard looks at your handshake and he bows instead. Yes, sir. I am Ricard. And you watch his hands into the large cuffs of his robe. Sorry, I do not enjoy the touching of other folks. I hope you do not see it as rude.
And I have my hand out, and then I retract it and like wipe it on my suit. Very well, understandable. Well,
Yes, he's a bit of a germaphobe, which is ironic given his current location. Ships are not known to be very clean, and you can see Ricard kind of grasp his belly, trying to hold back vomiting.
As 3 Jim goes,
His arm or hands comes up over the mouth on his mask, and you need to get over that if you're going to be in this line of work, Ricard. Perhaps maybe this assignment was better than we had anticipated for you. Nonetheless, these associates of these associates of mine, I believe they'll take good care of you. They seem to be able to hold their own up to a griffin. And Ricard at this point is composing himself. That is a mighty fine deed, yes. Griffins are magnificent creatures, but when they get angry, I would never want to be in one's path.
oh, it's quite a path indeed.
Well, I believe the captain is trying to get underway, and my presence here is only delaying your travels. Safe journey, may the wind be in your favor, and may Mistra guide you. And he does a bow.
I put a hand on my chest and nod to him.
hey, will Ricard be able to contact you if we need you?
I don't know how you would ever need me. He has been blessed with the sending spell.
Good to know. Thank you. You know, just gotta keep in touch sometimes with your friends.
And he looks at you and he smiles, and I'll be off. Turns around and heads towards the captain, puts a hand on his shoulder and leans in, whispers in his ear, and the captain then Gower walks to the gangplank and gets off the ship, in which the crew promptly take the gangplank away, and they start to get everything, do all the final things before pushing off the dock and heading to sail. Ricard finally. Might I ask, how have you all come to know Gower?
Well, it was quite a peculiar situation. We were hostages to a rogue wizard.
Oh, perhaps maybe the wizard that they're currently hunting. Lloyd, I believe his name.
I put a finger up. Exactly. So, managed to gain his trust, and we're able to, well, gather a partnership as you.
Very well. Yes, Gower is quite a powerful man, indeed. To be on his good side and to be acquainted with you all. I will be honored to work with you.
Well, don't you worry. We'll take care of you. So, do you have any bags or anything that you would like to take down into the quarters?
No, I have stuff here already. Thank you.
All right. Well, We should probably perhaps go to their kitchen, see what the quarters are, the dishes are in there. But I just need to look around.
Is that to Ricard or to the party?
Everybody.
I will do my own thing for now. I tend to get a little seasick, and I have a little ritual that I must undertake. Perhaps I can join you as we endure breakfast.
Very well.
And he bows and begins to walk towards the captain, in which the captain points, and he goes to the where the wheel of the boat is, and he heads up there. And you see him looking at the back of the ship, and as the sailors all grab their their really long poles and start to push off the dock, he takes his mask off and hurls on the other side of the ship. As he just retches, and as he's sitting there and breathing heavy, he retches one more time before taking a handkerchief out, wiping his mouth, and as he pulls it away from his mouth, the handkerchief disintegrates in flame and ash and floats with the wind, and he replaces the mask back onto his face, composes himself, and starts to just look at the sights of the ocean.
Giles chuckles. Well, anybody else wish to join me, or gonna proceed to look around?
I'd like.
Try and find the kitchen area where they cook.
It's kind of in the middle of the crew quarters, and they are currently in the middle of preparing breakfast. What you can see is a modest bit of eggs and bacon and sausage and bread as well. Nothing fancy.
Well, this is quite the setup you all have here.
Ready for breakfast in about 30 minutes once we get out to sea. If you're hungry now, I guess you could have perhaps a fruit. Would you like a fruit? We have apples and pears.
I'll take an apple.
Yes, perhaps. Oi! One of them comes up and smacks the dude on the head, and he goes, "Ow! Get back to work. Sorry, pass these quarters. It distracts the men." And he turns around and like glares at the one dude, especially that one. Here's your apple.
Thank you. I was also wondering if you happen to need free hands. I happen to be a cook myself, so at some point, would you like?
Pay very well. In fact, we don't pay at all.
Oh, it's fine. Cooking is...
A man of culture then. Very well. I'm sure you could help us out with this. I do warn you though, this is a beastly meal we're making.
Very well. I'll gladly. Jim, I'll look down to Three-Toed Jim.
Yeah.
It looks like
Okay. I just kind of plop off.
Okay.
and I take off my suit jacket and hang it like against a chair or anything like that, and like
Yeah.
Prepare to help them out.
Right, and you start getting to work making omelets and bacon and sausages and toast. While he's doing that, the rest of you on top deck, the ship is pulling out of harbor and starts to set sail for the horizon, and to a position where the sails unravel, and you guys start to gain speed and start heading on your way into the wild. If anyone has any particular roleplay points that they wish to do, feel
I
free.
want to go down to Lloyd.
There's a new member of our group, an NPC.
You don't know this.
Yeah, I know.
You've been told, or what the party's been told, is his goal is to investigate this madness, with air quotes, that's happening in Bleakbell. He's not actively looking for Lloyd. That's not why he's being sent here.
Okay. Just making sure. I understand there's a member of the Inquisition with us now.
That's what you're just about to learn.
Yeah, okay. No, proceed.
Okay, so Three-Toe Jim comes in. He's like, "Oi!" I'm just joking. Three-Toe Jim, you go to your quarters, and the two barbarians aren't there. The old woman's still asleep. The pregnant woman is asleep, and the teenager's not there anymore. But Lloyd is there reading.
Hey, Lloyd?
Who dat?
I mean, Fredrickson?
Hey, what's up?
Excuse me, sorry. Sometimes my coughs sound like that. Hey, so, just so you know,
What?
and we're like, shit, you don't know about anything that happened.
I'm gonna
Roasted.
just go back to reading my book, and I'm gonna just ignore you guys for the rest of the ride. How about that? You don't know me. I don't know you.
I just, fine, whatever, and I just walk away.
And then I just go back to read my book.
Right. Anything from Kai or Trina?
No. Do I see anything unusual out, like in the water or anything?
No. So Kai, and from what you can tell, Kai, based on his stance, is he's trying to compose himself. He's got his hands outstretched to his side, in deep breaths and letting them out slowly. Deep breath, let it out slowly. Then Jim comes up to the top, and he sees you there, and that is the scene. Yes.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. You're man of the cloth. Which god do you prefer? Who do you worship the most?
One moment, please. Everyone in the Inquisition are impartial. Mishra.
Does anybody study anything about Ligma anymore?
And he shakes his head. Never heard of Ligma, but I do.
Ligma balls, and I run off.
And he kind of looks back, and as you run away, he kind of then grabs his mask, turns back, and starts to vomit again. In which, when he's done, he wipes his mouth, puts his mask back on, and begins to do those deep breaths again. Kai, roll a perception check for me.
Alright, hold on.
Okay.
Nice.
So as he's done doing that, you tighten as he makes a fist, and you can tell that he's angry.
Rub his back. You okay there, guy?
And as you touch him, he jumps to the side, and he puts one hand on his mace at his side as he backs up, and he sees who it is, and he lets go. I apologize. You startled me. Please, if you would, for future use, from touching me.
You got it, and then I kind of like just pat him on the back.
And he like essentially uses his shoulder to try to deflect your arm, and he puts his hands up and he starts to sort of like shake them back and forth, and he's like, please do not touch me.
Agreed, and I reach out for a handshake.
And as you do that, he puts a hand on his mace. No.
No what?
I will not shake your hand.
No. Are you alright then?
No, as I had stated before, I am prone to seasickness. And even the ship being at dock, I was already feeling queasy. This is going to be a very rough journey for me.
That's really what's getting you angry? I'm sorry. It won't be that long. Do you know how long it's gonna be?
From what I've told, with favorable winds, it will take no more than 3 days.
3 days? And he's like real shocked. You gotta deal with this for 3 days?
I am as unhappy with it as you, if not more so.
Oh. Well, I kind of point around, well, if you need it, the bucket, it's over there. Cause that's nasty. Do you ever clean that thing off? And I point towards his mask.
I clean it every night.
I had a face like that once.
He kind of looks at you to the side. You had a face of the Inquisition?
No, like a face that masked. Well, it wasn't really a mask, but it was a face though. For sure.
I don't follow your meaning.
I tell him the events about the what was his name?
Master?
Yeah, the Grandmaster.
And he seems very repulsed by your story. And as you talk about all of the faces and how they were cut off and the monks, he eventually stops you, turns towards the side of the boat, takes his mask off, and starts to vomit again. Please, spare me the details. I do not believe I can handle anymore.
Yeah. That's how it was though. Like, but I think if I can endure that, you can endure this.
And he starts to breathe heavily, wipes his mouth, replaces the mask back on his face. Yes. I believe that I need to go rest now. He turns back to you. I thank you for the story, but if you would please refrain from these graphic, I would be most appreciative. Then he begins to walk towards the crew quarters.
Have you been seeing his face while he's taking off the mask to throw up? Or is
No.
he like making
He's facing, he's facing of everybody's view, off, and make sure that no one can see his face.
Okay.
He heads to the crew quarter, and from what you can notice, Dr. Thorpe, is that as he comes down, you see him come down the stairs. He doesn't go to the room where you guys will all be sleeping. He actually goes to the crew's quarters, and you can see 2 doors, and he goes through one of them. which when he opens it up, there's this lovely smell of lavender. And he closes the door, and you can see that there's a lamp that is turned on because of the light that comes underneath the door frame.
I'll like just look in that direction and then just continue helping the crew.
Okay. So as the next 30 minutes go on, eventually the crew do finish preparing the breakfast, and they call for everybody. The passengers, everybody that wishes to eat may grab a plate of eggs, bacon, sausage, and toast. And either a pear or apple, doesn't honestly matter, but
If I can make a plate for Ricard and take it to him.
okay. As you finish making the plate and start walking that way, the head chef gets in front of you. Aye, we got him taken care of, don't you worry. You go ahead and take a break, though. You've done enough, and we do appreciate your help. And as you start to sort of turn away, a very different meal for him. It's some sort of like fruit platter with like strawberries, bananas, kiwi, things like that. So essentially a fruit salad, and they bring it to his door. Seasick, so he's been given a special diet that's supposed to help combat it, apparently.
Smart, considering how fresh he is.
I'd say so. Definitely doesn't have his sea legs, probably never will.
Yes. Well, perhaps I'll check on him with him. Check with him later. Make sure he's okay.
Aye.
Top deck.
Oh, yeah.
Find a place next to like the side and just start eating.
Okay. All right. So unless there's roleplay wise that anyone has, super duper big that happens, go for it.
After like munching a little bit, I want to go down below and speak to Mr. Freddy.
Okay. Once you're done, Frederick is in his cot, probably with a plate of food and with his book.
Fred!
I peek up over the behind the book. Hello. Well, just reading a book here till we get to shore. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, really. I think it's a couple days. I don't remember.
Right. Yeah, I believe it would be a few days. Depends. I assume you heard about our new friend?
For some reason you had to take this newcomer on, and that they're one of the silver and blue boys.
Well, look more suspicious.
Yeah. Maybe just I don't know that.
Yes, you perhaps have a whole different personality, maybe different voice, accent. Any of that? As far as we know, his job is not to look out for you. He is off to perhaps star that you were talking about, from what it sounds like. Sounds like you two may have a So, you best be on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
As you turn around, you see that the teenage boy came through. You found a star from the sky. How did you get it?
I've never like there's shooting. You ever hear a shooting star before? You
And he
see 'em
shakes
in
his
the
head
sky?
no.
If you can look up in the sky sometimes, and sometimes they fall, and you can make a wish on them, and some say it'll come true if you see a falling star.
You can wish for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Can
I've
wish.
never really seen. I suppose. Why do you ask?
No real reason. And as he says that, he glances towards his mother.
Is she the one that's sleeping? Or and how is your relationship with your mother?
But I want more.
In what way?
And as he says that, he kind of like backs up from you guys a little bit. No, she's
Well,
very kind.
What is it that? Oh, no, go on.
And as he begins to say something, he turns around and runs away.
Looks like you have a new friend.
Apparently. Well,
Well, I'll leave you to it. But please, think about what I said.
Just-
Very well. But if you need me, you know where
Wizard. See the old woman. She tosses and looks over towards you guys. Her eyes are wide, but she continues to snore. Wizard. Lloyd.
with a smirk, slowly look at Lloyd. Have fun.
Oh.
And I'm continuing to walk out with a chuckle. Top deck.
yeah. I'll just
Rosie.
stay here reading my book, listening to this lady spout out things that they may or may not have overheard.
Yeah, from what you can tell is she just takes bits and pieces of your conversation.
So we're overboard.
I go back to reading my book,
Okay.
as I do not want to make a scene at the moment.
Any other role play from anyone?
Trina. Let's see what she's doing.
Okay. I think Trina is probably just gazing at the side railing, looking at the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking in the sights as I'm like heading up behind her.
Indeed. It's not very often that you get to go sailing.
Indeed. I usually don't get the opportunity to. I'm always heading out on foot. So, we have a new party member.
Indeed, it would seem we do.
And I just went down to and gave him the complete breakdown.
Oh? And how did he handle that?
He wondered why we accepted. I had to explain to him.
Agreed.
So, hopefully, he himself doesn't raise any suspicion with his new look. gave him suggestions, like perhaps he should use a new accent, new voice,
Yeah.
anything of that nature.
I don't know if he's able to do that though. Have you?
I'm sure he will be terrible at it. But, because if he gets found out, we are all in trouble.
True.
Well, do you happen to get some breakfast?
I have not yet.
Well,
Is their food any good?
and in helping make it, so it should be
Oh.
to your liking.
Should be decent then.
Indeed. Well, I'll leave you to it and check with everybody else.
Okay. Make sure that
Right.
Kai's not getting in trouble.
Gonna keep walking and look for Kai.
He is by the wheel at the top, I believe, unless. But nonetheless, you will find him.
So, what brings you here? Hope you're not causing any trouble.
No. Now, why would I do that?
Because you happen to have a habit of wandering and getting yourself into situations that you shouldn't otherwise be getting involved with.
As he's to wander off.
And so him doing that, I smirk and chuckle to myself and then walk off as well and look for Jim.
So Kai wanders off, and then you go and find Jim. I don't know where Jim would be, but probably top deck after leaving
Yeah,
Frederick,
somewhere.
aka Lloyd, aka.
I think the last thing I did was lick my balls and ran off, so probably just the upper deck somewhere. Hey, what's going on, Doctor?
Well, seems everyone seems to
They
be.
like look left and right. Is there anybody like right around me?
Just very.
I think look left, right. We're gonna have to kill that guy.
Perhaps we should see him on this journey. He seems way more fresh than the rest of it.
I'm thinking is instead of the dye that what's wearing would make a awfully good disguise, if you know what I'm saying.
Perhaps.
Things of tape.
But keep in mind,
And the alibi of supposed to be with us. And without arousing suspicion.
as I have a connection with him. Last time I checked, our friend Fred doesn't have a connection with Gower.
Oh, and I mean, he doesn't need to have a connection with him. I'm more talking in new places.
A thought indeed. And that's a thought I shall think about.
Looks like we have nice wind going and destination.
So, but I'm sure the crew know what they're doing. Nothing to be worried about.
Yeah, that was so good.
Good. Well, there's not much else to do besides take in the sights and the wind. So I guess if you need me.
Julio,
All right. And I walk off like towards the end of the ship, and like just looking.
Easy enough, and you don't really see too much happening. Yeah.
I guess
So-
I'll pull out after taking in the sights. I'll find a place to sit and pull out my journal and start writing.
Okay. You're top deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you do that, you watch as Kai is like walking around, looking around at the sails, and he's in the middle of the deck, and all of a sudden, towards the crew quarters. And then from there, Kai, you look around, and the masked gentleman, the door out from underneath it.
I ask him, it's like, whose room is that? Or what's
That,
going on in there?
I believe.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And then I go knock on his door. My ear to it.
All right. So as you put your ear, you guys hear? My bad.
Is our view supposed to be very limited?
Shouldn't be super duper limited. Oh, but it is. That's weird. Let me put on. Oh, I know why. Because this is an old map, so it doesn't have the updated settings. Okay. And boom. Can you see everything now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
This boat looks familiar.
Okay. You go up to the door, you listen, and on the other side you can hear, you can't make out what the words are because they are, but you can hear mutterings coming from the other side of the door. And as you listen for longer and longer, you can hear it as, and you are able to gauge that this is either some sort of chant or maybe a prayer.
Okay, I'm gonna wait by his door until he's done.
Okay. So you're there for like 5 minutes or so before you finally hear movement from inside the cabin.
Knock on the door.
And as you knock on the door, you hear the movement stop and then come towards the door. Door opens up and the masked gentleman, Ricard, is there. Yes, may I help you?
Mind if I come in? And I kind of like peek my head inside the thing.
And he doesn't stop you from looking in, but he's, you can tell that he's somewhat confused by the offer. I require we can speak out here.
I can't.
And obviously when you get close to him, he avoids touching you, so it's very easy for you to get inside of his room. And as you sit on the bed, he reaches out and it's like, no. Oh.
I kind of get up really fast and it's like, hold on, I didn't touch you.
And he starts to like stroke his temple. You are insufferable. You know that? What do you
My brother
want?
used to tell me that all the time.
And might I ask then perhaps a personal question as to where's your brother now? Does he live in Bleakbell?
He kind of and looks down. He's around.
It's unfortunate that he's not here to perhaps maybe keep you in check.
Keep me in check. I'm my own man.
I'm sure you are, but there's something about siblings. Maybe it's the rivalry. But I remember my older brother always keeping me by his side and in check.
And then, so out of character, I'm gonna type you some questions to ask him, and then you can
Okay.
just continue on.
You want me to just type back the answers? I'm assuming you're wanting this to be not
Private.
divulged to the pride. Okay. All right. Yeah, I will answer them. So, Kai begins talking to Ricard, and eventually he leaves to go and join the rest of the group, doing whatever it is the rest of the group is doing. And unless there's anything else, the rest of the first day of sailing goes without any type of issue. Just a bunch of the crew singing and things like that. And eventually everybody has their lunches and their dinners. And some of you start to learn the words, if you wish, to the songs, and you're able to start singing with them. And then as everybody goes to bed, you will wake the next day to a nice, bright, sunny day.
Well then. Rocky first. Hopefully a better second.
Man, what a nice, bright, sunshiny day.
Indeed, it is beautiful. So, has anyone had a chat with our new guest?
I have not, but I'm planning on.
Very well. And still sit in the bed, put on my reading glasses, and continue writing in my journal.
Okay. Oh. Rosie just chased Cece down the hallway. She's not happy.
Oh no.
That's so funny. She's probably gonna jump on top of the cabinets now and sit there for like 3 days.
Oh no.
Rosie's gonna get a claw to the face.
Yeah, that's true. But okay.
Oscar was not very happy when I let her out today too.
Oh yeah. He'll get there though. Splinter's starting to play with her a little bit, which is neat. Okay. So, as the day begins and you guys end up having breakfast with Dr. Thorpe helping to cook, things like that, you notice that the day-to-day routine of the crew is pretty set in stone. They have the various obligations to the ship that they need to accomplish to make sure that they're heading the proper way. They've got their shifts covered and things like that. But life on a cargo ship as a passenger is not as lavish. You find yourself bored most times. Go into the kitchen just to grab a snack because you've got nothing better to do. You look out at the sea and just see the endless expanse of water as it meets the sky. You see the rolling clouds as they go through. And as you're looking forward, probably 10 miles or so ahead, you can see that there are what looks to be storm clouds overhead. And the crew don't seem to be too worried about it, but you do see that they've started to go around to certain loose pieces of cargo and have started to tie them down to the ship. Just as a precaution. Is there any role play for day number 2 from anyone?
I guess like while I'm helping the crew, like cooking and cleaning up and everything like that, like ask them, so how long do you think this trip will take?
Well, winds are favorable right now, so that's probably cut at least half a day off our travel. But from what the captain saw, there's a storm that's gonna be intercepted. That could pose probably rougher waters, which makes us slow down just a wee bit, which will probably gain us that half a day again. So I'm guessing around 4.5.
Interesting. Well then, I guess I'll let the rest of my party know what we should expect. Is there anything else that you need help from me?
We appreciate you helping with breakfast and such. Even though we're not short-handed, it is nice to have someone that has the chopping of herbs down, such as yourself.
Indeed. Well, if you need me for anything else, feel free to ask.
Righto. Thank you very much.
And I clean my hands and grab my jacket and head out to see what everybody else is doing.
Okay. So while that's going on, as you head back towards the top side, Lloyd, I assume you're reading your book again?
Yep.
Okay.
Just sitting there, passing the time.
So as you're reading the book, you suddenly hear like thumps in front of you. And as you put your book down to look, you see that little boy is tapping your book. And he's trying to read what the title says, but he's stumbling on the words.
I look at him and say, "Hello there. What's you curious?"
Yes. What do the words? What do they mean?
Oh, so you understand what I'm saying to you, right? Like speaking. It's just another way of speaking, but without saying it out loud. I'm guessing you don't understand how to read?
And he shakes his head, no. I've never been
Okay.
taught before.
Well, I get I have some ink, parchment, and paper, and I pull some out of my bag, and I start going over the alphabet with them.
Okay. Let's roll let's do insight.
Did not mean to click that.
Oh?
I clicked that somehow.
You frightened the child!
Yeah.
The kid runs to the top deck and jumps overboard. I'm just
taken care of.
And a megalodon eats him. Just kidding, that's pretty dramatic. No, we'll do roll insight. See if you're able to help him learn. I think insight makes sense. Okay. So you start to go over the alphabet with him and stuff, and he begins to take another blank piece of parchment and essentially start copying it down. And you can tell that he's having a tough time holding the quill, which you aid him. You get him back to where he needs to be. He starts to write, and his penmanship obviously needs a lot of work, but you can make out exactly what letterings it is that he's writing. And after a couple of, we'll say maybe an hour or two of teaching him, he seems to be grasping these concepts really quickly. He does understand what, like, all the letters, like how they sound and things like that. And you start to teach him how to, like, write his name and things like that, which he does very poorly, but he's coming along.
Yeah.
Thanks for teaching me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's
How-
my pleasure.
How long have you been writing and reading for?
Ever since our age, really.
And then he begins to write again. How do you spell Lloyd?
That'd be 2 L's, O-Y-D. I
And-
think.
And how about Frederick? And you don't have to actually spell it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not worried.
I spell,
but, yeah.
I spell.
and Thorpe?
Thorpe, Thorp. And I write it above so you can write it below.
And Star?
I do the same with star.
And he pretty much goes over most of what Dr. These are all so different, though.
What do you mean?
There's so many letters that are used, but there's only
yeah.
26 of them.
Yep. Yeah. You can make a lot of combinations with them, and there's different roles for grammar and whatnot, and it can get pretty complicated. But after a while, you kind of get used to it.
I don't want to keep you from your
No,
book,
it's all good.
but
We're here for a few more days anyway. So
can I borrow more paper so I can practice?
yeah, and I give him some more parchment.
As you do. How do you spell Milton?
L-I-T-N, M-I-L-T-O-N. Can't speak.
And he writes it.
I read for him so he can write it below it.
And he writes it. Does that look right? Penmanship is atrocious, but you can tell that he spelled Milton correctly.
Yeah, you spelled it right. You just got to work on it.
He smiles real big, wide to wide, and he kind of hugs the paper. And then he looks at you. May I borrow it and practice it up top where the sunlight is?
Yeah, go for it.
And he smiles, and he jumps up and gives you a big hug.
Oh. Don't mention it, it's all good.
And
Enjoy
then he
yourself.
runs away, goes upstairs. That's not as busy, and lays down on his stomach and practices writing, and he writes Milton over and over and over.
Okay. And is his mom awake?
She is sleeping.
Okay, well, I will let her
And
sleep.
what you've noticed is that she wakes up for the meals, eats, and then goes back to sleep. Together, yes, the two barbaric gentlemen are up top. They've decided that they're so bored that they've started to help the crew out with lifting heavy objects, so they can try to keep up their physique. They're trying to see which one can juggle the most objects that weigh the most, because despite what you see on the picture here, there are no cannons, there are no ballistas. This is a cargo ship. The only weapons on board are the sort of spear guns that they have for like fishing, and the weapons that they have stored in like the armory. Okay. Anything from any other character?
Yeah, I'm gonna go find Ricardo.
All right. So you haven't noticed that he's come So you head up to the room that he's currently occupying, and you can see the light coming from underneath the door. Do you?
Oh, listen.
Okay. So much like what Kai heard, all you hear are mutterings, and they tend to repeat maybe 30 seconds. And this goes on for about 5 minutes or so.
I'll knock on the door.
And you hear the movement stop seconds before the door unlocks and opens, and Ricard is there with his mask on. Yes, may I help?
Yes. I just wanted to check and see. I know that the sea doesn't, you don't like being on the sea.
I have been dealing with it. The lavender and ginger incense have been helping to calm my nerves, and I've only had to dump my bucket once, staying put in my bed.
Good. It's going better, at least.
Yes.
I wanted to, since you're going to be traveling with us, ask you a couple questions. Get to know you a little bit.
If you wish. And he opens his door and starts to exit.
Maybe some fresh air.
Perhaps
Speaking of travels, where are you from?
I'm actually...
Vaguely?
Yes, I was born and raised until one day the Inquisition had come through and they were recruiting. I believe they do it once a year, and they see who the most prominent and devout of the gods are, and they take them with them to some sort of training location. It's a sacred place from what I remember.
Interesting.
What
So
about
they-
yours?
Oh, I'm from here and there.
A nomad?
I travel a lot, yes. Originally from the Legala Empire, though.
Ah. So you are elvish. And he
Half,
starts to
but
look at
yes.
you and goes, I should have noticed this before. Yes, half elvish. My perception's not what it would be. If I was not sick, I'm sure I would not have been so rude.
Understandable. You're fine. I understand, the sea can do funny things to people.
That is what I am understanding. I'm not fond of it, and I believe that the Inquisitors, or the High Inquisitors, sent me on this as a joke, to see if I'd be able to maintain my composure.
Well, under the circumstances, I think you're succeeding. So, I'm assuming you've been appraised of what's been going on in the town?
Of Bleakbell or Grim Meadow?
Yes. Bleakbell, where we're heading to.
Yes, from what I've heard is that for some weeks now, the people there have started to descend into madness, much like very cult-like activities. Friends have now become foes, everyone is paranoid. You can't seem to find any store open during the right time of day, because they are too busy preparing for something. People that leave Bleakbell have frightening visions or nightmares as they return back to Namat. And the local populace has actually started to begin to shun strangers.
Very interesting. Have they shared any thoughts with you, or have you developed any potential ideas as to why this might be going on?
The only thing I can think of is that there's probably some sort of arcane trickery at foot.
Possibly.
Otherwise, unless something may be tainting the food and water supply, but that is unlikely. Most of the imports come from Krayat itself.
I heard that there's potentially something that's going to go down in this area.
Oh? Do tell.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's connected to why these people are acting so strangely. I don't actually really know that much. I've just heard that, I don't know, something's brewing and...
Were these from travelers that you've met along your journey?
Yeah. It's here and there. I mean, mostly it's from people who have been there and have heard what's been going on, or, saw it. So it'll be interesting to actually finally experience what's going on in the town.
Yes, I quite agree. I can only imagine what would cause people into this madness state. Whatever it is, though, it is dark. And if there is something brewing, then it is my job.
I wonder if it perhaps is an entity of some sort.
An entity, you say? Like a wizard?
No, not necessarily a wizard. It could be something much worse.
What's worse than a wizard?
I don't know. Possibly a demon, archdevil. You never know. The mind can be infected by many different creatures.
And he kind of chuckles. He's like, "You are correct, but what would demons and devils have to do with a small fishing village that makes its profits off of an oyster farm, or a pearl farm, rather?"
Well, I know that you're relatively new at taking on jobs and, experiencing the world and stuff like that, but you'll learn fairly quickly that chaos can start in the smallest of places and spread everywhere.
Very interesting. Perhaps maybe it could be, and if so, we will definitely need more of the Inquisition's troops to aid us.
Are they pretty powerful, the Inquisition's troops?
I would say so. They do rival the military might of Krayat itself. Being granted the gift of divine power is no small feat. They do not require weapons of man-made properties, but they are also masters in those arts as well.
True. You'd think that the kingdom or the king would be a little worried that their might
the queen
rivals his. Queen.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Like I said, I'm just traveling through and I'm from a different empire.
Strokes his chin. Yes, of course. But yes, as you were saying, you were surprised what? I do apologize.
I'm surprised that the queen does not feel threatened by this might of your army.
Well, of course not. She is the absolute ruler of the church. She is the one gifted by the graces of the gods themselves to rule our country.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Yes, no one would dare take on the archpriestess. Not unless they wish to meet an untimely and painful death.
And what's this archpriestess's name? As I said, since I'm from a foreign land, I'm still learning a lot about this country.
See, I do have it. Let me just find it. I forget which one it is. There it is. Her Majesty Queen Becker. Layla Becker.
A very interesting name. I like it.
Yes. She was given her divine right from Mistra herself, and is the most powerful priestess within all of the land, I believe. I have not seen or heard tales of anyone that matches or even rivals her power. Even Gower is a mere shadow to what she is capable of. The most devout do get the more or the bigger slice of the pie, I believe. May I
Why the
ask?
mask?
Oh. It is
Oh,
a
sorry.
rite of passage for the Inquisition. The mask prevents
Interesting.
others from being able to get a sense of knowing who you are, as they wish for all of the Inquisitors in the Inquisition to be a cohesive unit, to be as one. To lose your identity is to become the Inquisition itself.
Interesting.
Yes, very much so. And as he's looking up, he sees the storm getting closer and closer. It looks like we're about to be breaching that storm soon, and I can only imagine that it's going to be quite rough. If you don't mind, he turns towards the crew quarters. I believe I will be
Yes, of course.
taking a dose of nightshade to perhaps sleep through it. Otherwise, I do
Not
not
too
believe
much.
I'll make it through. It was quite
Yes.
lovely talking with you, Trina. And he bows before you. Perhaps maybe we
Yes.
can talk more.
Yes, it was lovely to get to know you a little bit better, Ricard. I look forward to our travels together.
And he does a very gentlemanly bow, and then heads towards the crew quarters. Okay. Any other role play?
Just waiting.
Yeah, aside from just looking around, seeing what everybody else is doing, it's not really much for me to do.
Okay. So in the next hour, you guys do end up getting to the very edge of the storm, and the let's see, do this. I wonder if that'll work. And it starts to storm. The lights on the ship get turned on, and the crew begin to go about doing their precautions. The sails go to half-mast, and the waves are starting to get rougher. But from what you can see, as you look over the side railing and stuff, is that the waves aren't monstrous by any means. They are just a little choppier, and you can feel it with the boat. It seems to sway to and fro a lot more rapidly. Much of the crew is perfectly fine. They don't get seasick at all. For those of you that are in your quarters in your area, the two barbarians both have buckets and are hurling The old woman is still asleep, staring up at the ceiling with her wide eyes. The mother is also asleep with her child. Essentially, they are embracing each other to try to, make it through this part of the storm. And as things are getting bumpy, are any of you topside, or do you all go to seek shelter from the rain?
I'll be topside.
I went below.
Yeah, I have my jacket off, but I'm topside as well.
Okay.
I'm still down below.
Beltran doesn't like getting wet.
Okay. So, let's see, Dr. Thorpe and Jim, as you guys are up there, lending a hand if you ever needed to, if the crew asks. The ship, you watch as the captain is very, very masterfully maneuvering the boat in such a way that when he hits the waves, it reduces the strain on the ship. And he's obviously sailed through storms before, so this is no real challenge for him. He's very good at what he's doing. Let's see, I think this is the song I want to use. See. Anyway, as you're sailing, eventually you hear being shouted from the crow's nest, "Torrent! Torrent! 30 degrees port side! 30 degrees port side!" And you watch as the captain starts to maneuver the wheel very, very powerfully. And as it swings by, you guys can't help but go and look over the side rails, and you see this whirlpool that's just sitting there. And you can tell just by looking at it how powerful it is. And had the gentleman in the crow's nest not seen it, the ship probably could have gotten stuck there. "Torrent! Starboard! 50 degrees! Torrent! Starboard! 50 degrees!" And he swings it back around. "Torrent! Port sir! Sir!" And as he says that, you guys feel the ship essentially jolt to a stop. And everything gets thrown forward. Everybody that's down below deck, you get thrown forward. All the crew gets thrown forward. Dr. Thorpe and Jim, you guys brace on the side rails, and you get tossed forward a little bit. The captain goes flying forward, and the ship, as it starts to sort of even out, begins to turn in place. "Ah, damn!" And the captain goes to the side. "Where the hell did all these torrents come from?"
This happen often, Captain.
Aye.
Is he talking to like us?
No, he's just talking in general to
Out
anybody.
loud? Okay.
Yeah, he's upset. Most notably so.
You
But
say
he
this
looks.
happens.
Oh, go ahead.
This happens a lot.
I don't think I'd say it happens a lot. This is actually maybe the 5th time I've ever been captured in a torrent before. I've dodged dozens though. And he looks over again. This mighty storm, it's not even that big. I don't know how the wind is whipping this or the currents are whipping this up. Oh, and he starts snapping his fingers. Grab the oars! Grab the oars! We got to do this manually. And the crew start to go towards the side, and they start to unravel the oars and things like that. Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind, we could use all the power that we could possibly get in order to get out of these torrents.
Very well. I roll up my sleeves and help the crew.
I got the port side. Everybody else gets the starboard.
And they all look at you, and they chuckle, and they're like, "Oi, you might be strong, but you're half our size."
I like flex, and like a shockwave explodes. All the water comes off.
Oh yeah. That's funny. So yeah, you flex, and with the sheer amount of power that you put behind it, your arms do throw most of the moisture off, and then it immediately gets reapplied because it's raining pretty heavily, moderately. Yeah, you may be strong, but strength in numbers, eh?
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Okay. So as you guys are starting to put the oars into the middle, the captain, on the count of 3, and then every 2 paces, starboard, backward, port side, forward. 3, 2, row! 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 Go ahead and both of you roll a strength check with me.
Where's my... Oh, I am...
Whoa.
Okay. So as you guys are rowing, the ship begins to sort of stop twirling, and you can see that as you start to row, you are starting to move forward just a bit, and then you fall back into the torrent. You move forward a bit, and what you're gathering is that he's making a sort of seesaw effect to where eventually you'll have enough momentum that you'll just get out. Row! Row! Another strength check. Do you guys see every single one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many of them.
That abysmal roll.
Yeah. So as this one, he says row, and a few of you, your hands slip and you drop the oar, and it starts to fall out to sea before someone grabs it, and all like your momentum keeps up, but it starts to dwindle. Oi, back in sync. Let's go, row, row, and you guys get back to it. And as that's happening, all of a sudden you hear a clunk, 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 as if metal is hitting the side of the boat. And as that sound comes forward, you end up hearing a voice come from the back of the boat. Pleasure to meet all your acquaintances. But we'll be taking your cargo and some of your crew, I believe. And you see this burly beast as a harpoon or a grappling hook from the backside, and he hoists his way up. And it's this humanoid shark-looking creature, and he's accompanied by quite a few other humanoid-looking shark creatures.
Is the first one carrying the mermaid with him?
No, I just,
I
didn't.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be taking your cargo and some of your crew as you're told. Don't make it difficult. And
Are you guys gonna take our ligma as well?
Oh no.
as you say that, he looks at you and tilts his head. Ligma? What's a ligma?
Lick my balls, and then go and attack him
Okay.
in range.
We will roll initiative next session, but that's where we're gonna end it.
That reminds me of that meme that I love sending you, Brady, that's like, slug my fucking nuts.
Yeah, slug my fucking nuts. Are you happy that I gave that one to you? Lick my fucking nuts.
I didn't know if you were going to or not.
No, I don't think he's I don't think he's well versed in modern day insults and jokes. All right, I'm gonna end my stream. I'll be right back. All right, so that was a wonderful session. I like that. You can definitely tell the party is trying their best to not bring any attention to Lloyd, but in doing so, they bring a lot of attention to Lloyd, because he's definitely a wanted man because of the fact that he did show that he has arcane magic abilities, and then he tried to run away from being caught, which that's Gower's typical trap for mages that he puts into questioning. So now everybody's like so used to saying it, which is wonderful, because more than likely I would think that a lot of people would have trouble like actually like making that disconnect so quickly. So they're doing a really good job at using Lloyd as his name instead of Frederick and bringing up the fact that he's a wizard. That was hilarious. And Joe may have done that on purpose, but it also could have been on accident. I'm not really sure. But thank you everyone for coming out. Hopefully you're enjoying the story. The next session, I guess, is going to be battle, because Three-Toed Jim has decided to go out and strike. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, they're going to be fighting shark folk, sharkin, whatever you want to call them. Should be a good time. I've got a pretty neat bit of utility that they're going to have to do in order to get out of this one pretty much unscathed. So thanks again, and until we see you next time. Peace.